Hello. Hello? Yeah, this will be fine. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Pulp. I'm your host, Johnny Flores, and Ashley is not here with us this week. I am recording in New York, and I have a special guest, Lucy Randall.
Hi, it's me, celebrity podcast guest and comedian Lucy Randall at Lucy Town USA on Twitter.
Oh, getting the plug in early.
Oh, sorry. I should have said it at the end. I just... Oh my god. I totally fucked it up.
Lucy hosted a podcast that I listened to years ago. And
dark secret. I don't tell people about it.
Yeah, I wasn't going to mention it by name. And...
I'll do it. It's No Wrong Answers, still available on iTunes, I think. Share and subscribe.
Yeah,
please. I'm just going to do the plugs up top. I'm going to do the plugs up top. I know, I think maybe it's going to be it wasn't well loved in its infancy, but I think it's going to be one of those things that down the line...
The Broadway revival of No Wrong Answers is going to be the next Hamilton.
Or hopefully when I'm a world famous superstar, which is obviously on the horizon, it's going to be kind of an interesting artifact. For my rabid fans who want to know all about my arrival in New York and subsequent flunking out of college. It charts in 22 episodes. The podcast charts moving to New York to a dorm. We just talked about this. Moving to New York to a dorm, realizing that college is not for me, and then saying sayonara to the liberal arts school system. It's pretty beautiful. We can talk about the actual podcast that we're on and not live in the past if we want.
Well, we will be living in the past. We'll be living in the
That's
year.
quite true. Oh, that's quite true. I really walked into that one.
I found the podcast. We became Twitter friends. And now here I am, 2 years later in New York, meeting Lucy for the first time. And our first conversation is here on
mic. Well, we've had our first IRL conversation is on mic. We have had, I would say, a long, if it kind of ebbs and flows, but a Twitter direct message.
There was one night where we texted on my friend Matt's phone because you guys were at a party together.
We weren't at a party, we were at a comedy show and I was fucking wasted. I don't remember. I was real drunk. And then I saw Matt later and he was like, "Hi, yeah, that was funny when we hung out and you were texting Johnny." I was like, "I don't know what the fuck you were talking about, but okay." I think he once, and then at another comedy show, there's a pattern here, is that usually at a comedy show, I'm so embarrassed that I just did comedy that I get really drunk and don't remember what happened after. He texted me your phone number, I'm pretty sure. I think I saved him in my phone. I also might have done kind of an asshole thing, which is that I don't save a lot of people's numbers on my phone.
That's fine. You gave me your phone number and I was like, I'm not going to put that on my phone. We're still DMing. This is fine.
No, I really admired your commitment to continuing to...
Ashley and I
DM.
Still DM.
I love that.
We started the podcast over DMs. We have each other's phone numbers. We have exchanged a text maybe once.
As a medium, I love DMs. They're great. I love texting because I have read receipts on. And also, I don't know if the iOS 10 update, I don't know if
I do.
It's they looked at my brain and they were like, how can we make texting perfect for Lucy? Annoying, useless, the stickers feature is so good. I downloaded the Mario stickers because they're free and they're the only ones I have. And my family started a new group chat without me because I was assaulting them with Marios.
I'm really enjoying the Snapchat feature of the new messages. Speaking of iOS 10.
Okay, please.
Speaking of iOS 10.
I fucking love talking about iOS 10. Oh, now I understand.
The movie where...
No, I really thought you were just going to say something else about iOS 10. And then as I was being like, yes, let's keep talking about it, I was like, oh no, he's making a graceful transition to the topic. I'm going to tell you, I'm probably going to wander pretty far.
Oh,
a couple times in this podcast.
That is great. I feel like this one is just going to be a fun romp through the land of a 1999 made-for-TV TNT film. And
I'm so excited.
Listeners, if you are here for when Ashley and I get really into some social justice shit, that's not going to happen on this episode. No. We're not going to talk about any murders on this episode.
Because I'm dumb, I'm loud, I'm a textbook Gemini, so I would say.
Wait, okay. Do you know what your moon and rising signs are?
Gemini sun, Gemini rising, Leo moon.
Oh my god.
Sorry, bitch. I can't help the way I am.
Oh, this is gonna be so much fun. So I'm a Libra with, I'm sure you may have seen this. I'm a Libra with Gemini moon and Leo rising.
Ooh.
So
This is going to be quite interesting. I get along famously with Libra. But while I was waiting for you to get here, I was Googling what signs Steve Jobs, and to bring it back to the movie.
Oh my god.
I was Googling what signs Steve Jobs and Bill Gates are.
Speaking of, do you want to introduce the movie?
Oh my god. So the premise of the podcast, like I have to lay it out for everybody, is that we watch a film based on true events, i.e. pulp. Like, Johnny reached out to me via Twitter DM, asked me, what movie would you want to watch? And I hemmed and hawed, went through a lot of good potential movies, such as, I was like, maybe Monster is a good one. Or like, I was like really thinking about it.
Monster would have been too much.
It would have been way too much. And then I remembered that in 7th grade, I took a computer class where we had a substitute who didn't know a lot about computers and just showed us a film. And that film was a TNT original film made in 1999 called Pirates of Silicon Valley about the famous rivalry between Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. And it's a great movie. It's very made for TV. Really captures the dynamic between Bill Gates, a Scorpio, okay, duh, and Steve Jobs, a Pisces. Kind of.
A Pisces?
Right? I looked it up and I was like, okay, I can kind of make it work.
We're gonna have to look into their charts deeper later.
I'm sure someone's done them online.
I'm just gonna see if I can figure out what the rest of Steve Jobs' chart is.
I'll do Bill Gates.
With an Aries moon and Virgo rising. That makes a little bit more sense, but I still don't understand anything about Virgos because I keep trying to date them and I don't understand anyone I date.
I get along best, I'm most like emotionally sexually compatible with other Geminis. That's like the only time I've ever whenever I actually really like someone, they're a Gemini, which is fucking gross and dangerous because it just means that neither of us ever shut up. Bill Gates is Scorpio sun, Aries moon also.
Oh.
Kind of interesting. He's also 5.
Does it have his ascendant?
Yeah,
Cancer.
Yeah.
Mm.
Sorry, he's 5'9.5", and his Chinese astrology animal is a wood goat. I don't know what that is.
But yeah, so last week on the podcast, Ashley and I talked about another made-for-TV movie, Amanda Knox, Murder on Trial in Italy. And that was a Lifetime movie.
Ooh.
Which, I mean, we've talked at length, not you and I, but Ashley and I talked at length about Lifetime movies. For being a made-for-TV movie, this was actually pretty good. Still clearly. No. Yeah. This movie on TNT. Yeah, I mean, it was still clearly written.
Oh my god.
For TV and was on TV, but head and shoulders above Amanda Knox trial or Murder on Trial in Italy.
You know, I thought the movie Girl on the Train was about Amanda Knox. I don't know why. I had no evidence to back it up, but all the marketing came out for Girl on the Train. I saw ads for it, and in my head I was I think the process was they have trains in Italy. And I was and Emily Blunt is a white woman with brown hair. This must be an adaptation of the Amanda Knox story.
Yeah.
And someone
Netflix just did the documentary, so those wires getting crossed.
Yeah, right. 3 days ago I very confidently said that to somebody and they're like, what the fuck are you talking about?
The Girl on the Train was about Amanda Knox.
I would say most conversations I have, I say a lot of things like they're facts, even if I can't cite my source, but it just feels true. And I get away with it, so.
It's a good trait to have.
I hope we get some live fact checkers on this podcast. I'll be ruined.
We'll bring Griffin back and he can let us know all of the mistakes.
Oh yeah, good callback.
For the
from
0 listeners.
Yeah, what's the overlap? I don't know.
Yeah, but so this movie, it was directed by a man named Martin Burke, who also wrote the screenplay. The cast, I've got it split up by the like Apple team and the Microsoft team.
I like that's so cute that you did that.
Do you want to introduce? You were very excited to talk about Noah Weil, and I have to say I don't know jack shit about Noah Weil.
No, me neither. I just remember feeling something feeling kind of womanly watching that movie in my technology class, being like, oh my god, Steve Jobs is hot. And I was kind of excited to reconnect with that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And
Did
then,
it work?
No, rewatching it, I actually was kind of like, whatever. I want to mostly talk in terms of casting. Talk about the guy who plays Steve Wozniak.
Yes.
Because he looks like Kirkland's signature Paul Giamatti.
That is one of the notes on my phone.
Right?
Notes.
So, okay.
First I was like, they got Paul Giamatti to do this
Me
movie.
too. Well, last night I watched the first 10 minutes of this movie while I was really drunk last night. Because I was out and then I came back and I was like, oh my god, I'm doing a podcast tomorrow. I gotta watch the movie. And I found it on shouts out to Vio, and I have notes in my notebook that I made when I was drunk and notes in my phone that I made when I was drunk, and you can't even read it. It's like, wow, they really did that. Paul G made for Kirkland's signature. So I looked it up. Joey Slotnick, character actor. Fun fact, Paul Giamatti's brother is in this movie.
Who does Paul Giamatti's brother play?
When Steve and Woz are doing making Apple in the garage, and they're 2 employees. They're Elizabeth and the man. The man is Michael Giamatti.
Oh my god.
My notes from when I was drunk on this movie are great.
Okay.
I will say. Because I took notes in my notebook, but for some reason also have a note in my phone that's mostly just about what I was eating. Drunk watching movie for podcast. I'm eating Easy Mac. To make it taste better, I put cream cheese, American cheese, mustard, and pepper and hot sauce in it. It's very good.
That actually does sound really good.
You have to... It's not good if you don't put stuff in it.
It's semi-homemade.
Yeah, call me Sarah Lee. Yeah. Oh, they smoked pot? Wow. I'm eating lemon heads. How do I feel, Ari Anthony Michael Hall?
How do you feel, R.E. Michael Anthony Hall as Bill Gates? No. Yes, Bill Gates.
I love it. Upon rewatch, I find that Noah Weil is clearly given the meatier role. Mm-hmm. He does more scenery chewing than
right.
Anthony Michael Hall does. But I think that Anthony Michael Hall is the better actor. Having more experience, Noah Weil is from fucking ER. I mean, that's soapy. Right. Pretty sudsy stuff. Anthony Michael Hall delivers a kind of more subtle performance with, I would say, a more finely realized arc. Also, his singing is great when he's singing in the car. Mm-hmm. I love that because it's so stupid. And he really nails in the beginning of the movie. He's the only actor out of those 3 actors that actually believably could have been a college sophomore.
Yes.
And he really nails that dweeby, breathy voice. That affect of well, I don't know, you guys. We have to get to the Altair.
This is post Brat Pack.
Mm-hmm. Post SNL.
I don't even remember when he was on SNL.
No one does. That's kind of what's cute. The same season as Robert Downey Jr.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's
not a
fun.
great idea.
But yeah, I did not recognize him. He is transformed into Bill Gates.
He bears a good resemblance too.
Yeah, rounding out the cast are Josh Hopkins as Paul Allen, John DiMaggio as Steve Ballmer.
Oh, yes. Ballmer is my favorite character in this movie.
Ballmer, I want an entire book about why they kept Ballmer around.
Oh my god. He's the best. Yeah, I guess I want to keep talking about this. I guess we should just say the movie, like what the movie covers. The movie covers like the parallel journeys of Bill Gates and Steve Jobs and their respective friends or whatever from, you know, their days at college, their respective colleges to like the invention of the Lisa, the Apple, the Macintosh, IBM, etc. up until like 1997, I think or it ends with Steve Jobs getting fired.
Right.
But it kind of just like covers their journeys and like their like run-ins and their clashes. They are the pirates. The formation of Silicon Valley is kind of what happens in this movie, and they just do it in some interesting ways.
There's a lot going on. The other weird casting tick that I wanted to bring up is Charlie's mom from It's Always Sunny.
That's who that is.
Philadelphia.
She's the receptionist. Yeah. I have a note in my notebook where I'm like,
wait, she's a receptionist? I thought she was Steve's mom. Bill Gates' mom.
I wasn't sure. It was unclear because she was like answering the phone for them. So I guess maybe it was his mom. Yeah, no, I have in my notes, that mother, / lady, is a character actress. I know her. I could not figure it out. Oh my god, yeah, it's totally her.
Yeah, she plays Charlie's mom.
I feel so much more at ease now that I know that.
Yeah, and then Jeffrey Nordling, who I thought was a Baldwin, but is not, apparently.
He's a Kirkland Baldwin.
Yeah. He plays this guy named Mark, who is like an investor in Apple, and then Alan Royal plays John Scully, who is the like stodgy CEO that they bring on to kind of temper.
Yeah. The explosive genius.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's a very 1999 movie.
It's so 1999. It's like so clearly before cell phones are a thing. Like this came out just in time for it to be like not the full weight of what their actions were about to bring on. Like
yeah, it's really interesting to see a movie about these people that was made before the iPhone.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, because I feel like all other like Steve Jobs like focused or Bill Gates focused films were like made after Steve Jobs died. Like you have the Ashton Kutcher Steve Jobs. You have which I did not see. We have Jobs.
Have not seen it.
Have not seen it. We have the book. Have not read it. I have never read a book actually. Why would I?
And then there's the Michael Fassbender Oscar-nominated portrayal, which I have not seen.
No, I don't need to. I've seen Pirates of Silicon Valley.
Right.
And I consider this the only story I need in terms of Apple v. Microsoft, which I feel like it's also funny to see a movie that's so about that rivalry because it's become like kind of largely irrelevant. Like I feel like since the invention of the iPhone, there was like a brief moment where Windows was trying to be a competitor with like the Windows Phone. And they're still kind of trying to push like Windows as a consumer PC with like heavily targeted ads. But for the most part, I feel like that like Mac versus PC has been laid to rest in a big way where it's not really like something we're all talking about anymore.
Right.
You know, it's like...
We no longer have John Hodgman and...
Yeah, Justin Long, bless his shaggy little heart.
Oh my god.
Yeah, well, I feel like there's still like, you'll watch a TV show on Fox, which is like a Windows company, and you feel like very jarred by the fact that like everyone on New Girl is using a Windows phone. Or like... or like, I don't know if I watched the Mindy Project for a while, and everyone on the Mindy Project uses the Windows like tablets.
Yeah.
And it's immensely distracting. Because it seems like, you're like, no, we figured that out. Like, human people don't use that. That's for like offices and stuff. Like,
yeah. So let's touch on some production notes.
Oh, yeah. I want to talk about this.
So they were going to record this movie in Canada. Mm-hmm. But Noah Weil couldn't get enough time off of ER to go to Ontario. Yeah. So they ended up having to do it in LA. Anthony Michael Hall did not have that problem because, as we said, this was a real low point in his career.
Oh, yeah.
He appeared in another made-for-TV movie in 1999, so he was really...
You know, you do one for them and one for you. Maybe these were his ones for them. Pirates of Silicon, I'm on his Wikipedia page right now. Pirates of Silicon Valley gets an above the contents shout out. You know what I mean? Like, it's in his role in Pirates of Silicon Valley is in the first 2 paragraphs of his Wikipedia page.
Yeah. Well, he says he really fought for the role. Quote, "It was a thrill and a daunting challenge to play someone of his stature and brilliance," which is like exactly the kind of thing that you would say if you used to do a bunch of high school, like, oh, I was in the Breakfast Club, now I get to be Bill Gates.
Oh, bless him. I love him in this movie. I really do. It is a movie that's like, I think just because Steve Jobs is like a more explosive figure than Bill Gates is. Like, Bill Gates is kind of, on paper, I think Anthony Michael Hall had to do more work to make that character kind of interesting, in my opinion.
Definitely. Because
Bill Gates is kind of a very, quiet, unassuming seeming dude who, you have these, anecdotes about him, like the bulldozer racing or whatever, which is a great sequence in that movie that's true, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
And then Steve Jobs is you're gonna get some yelling and some a lot of talk about the universe and artistry or whatever.
Right, gonna do some mad drugs.
Yeah, so I think that I really liked his work in this film. I did. It was actually seemed like he acted it really well. Not that I have a high bar for acting, but
maybe he got snubbed for the Emmy.
I think, let's start a social media campaign. Justice for Anthony. Justice for Tony. There we go. I was trying to think of a catchy thing. Justice for Tony.
Yeah. It wasn't actually the movie was nominated for 5 Emmys, but it didn't win any of them. But it was nominated for Outstanding TV Movie of 1999. So,
and Outstanding TV Movie of my heart. While we're talking about production, can we just touch really quickly on the insane stylistic choices this movie makes?
Oh, have at it.
So the movie is narrated. The narration is kind of split into 2. So the stuff about Steve Jobs is narrated by Wozniak, Steve Woz, from now on. Woz speaking directly to the camera in a talking heads kind of thing. And then on the Microsoft side, it's narrated by Steve Ballmer in they're breaking the fourth wall doing talking heads. This movie makes a lot of insane, to me, stylistic choices that it doesn't commit very hard to. So every time they happen, it's jarring because it's not a really stylized movie. It's mostly just a made-for-TV movie. And then during these talking head segments, sometimes a weird computer effect will happen where there's a scene in the boardroom where they're talking, Microsoft is talking to IBM, and Steve Ballmer turns around in his chair and addresses the camera directly, and then it zooms out and it's a picture frame. Right. And then he steps out of the picture frame and is pointing
onto
to
the computer or
No, that's when Woz is on the computer after he has his plane accident. But the first time they don't use this device until they don't break the fourth wall explicitly like that until 2/3 of the way into the movie.
Right. There was a lot of narration leading up to this, and then all of a sudden it's zooming out and he has stepped out into this black void.
Yeah.
And he's pointing into the frame of the film.
Yeah, so now we're looking at a film still of Bill Gates and his little friends in the boardroom with IBM in a museum somewhere, in a digital picture frame, and there's a little bench where one could ostensibly sit and view said picture, and Steve Ballmer is standing in this big empty gallery room pointing at a picture that he was just inside of and talking about it like it happened years in the past. And I saw that and I rewound it to watch it because they had done a couple weird little things that were similar to that early in the film, cutting to an IBM commercial during the narration, as though it were a movie that relied on a lot of pastiche, which it doesn't. And then that scene happens and you're I want to know more.
Where is this museum? What is...
Because the whole movie does have a very theatrical quality, mostly because it's a made-for-TV movie, but if you read it through that, the lens of that scene with, characters breaking the fourth wall and talking directly to the camera, and, the way that Steve Ballmer, that John DiMaggio delivers literally every line, is very theatrical and
Yeah. I was gonna say this for later, but I feel like this is a good time to bring it up. The writer, whose name I already said it once, Martin Burke, was like really into how like Hamlet-y this story is, and like I'm gonna be completely honest, I don't know jack shit about Hamlet. I don't know if you do.
I do, actually.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm a little bit of a Shakespeare nerd. I was a theater kid in high school. Get at it.
But yeah, so like bringing that theatricality, and like when he talks about how like Shakespearean, he always talks about how Shakespearean Steve Jobs is, which like to me makes sense why he's the more developed character and like why he gets all of this. But it also like these weird devices that he's like,
even like the way that they, specifically John DiMaggio as Stephen Ballmer, again my favorite character in the film, like delivers his lines. They have him playing like they track them from like being in college to being like full-grown adults, so they have the same actors playing these people in college that they do as like middle-aged men. And so you have this Steve Ballmer in college, and this man doesn't look like a college sophomore at all, and he's like the frat boy. Like he's delivering these like really like punchy lines where he's like, oh come on man, let's go get some pussy, stop playing around with your little fucking computers. And like it looks so wrong and like very like you're just very aware that it's a performance. And there's a lot of this is because it's like a relatively low budget made for TV movie, but if you read it as being like a theatrical thing, you're like, this might be fucking brilliant. This like actually might be a brilliant. I got caught in a little loop this morning of being like, maybe this movie is art.
I'm always down to go to the loop of like, let's assume that this is all perfectly intentional and like art, because once it leaves the artist's creative studio, it's really up to us to interpret it. So
and I've been interpreting. It's just like a going back to the thing about it being Shakespearean, and like it is like a very dramatic story that has like a lot of like really interesting dramatic irony, and this screenplay does very clearly telegraph like a lot of moments of rebirth and stuff. Like you have the moment where Steve Jobs, who's had like long hair and a beard through the whole beginning of the movie because he's like a revolutionary who like hates the fucking man and like hates IBM and like big business and is all about like whatever, as Apple forms, is shaving off his beard and cutting his hair, and like that's a very clearly telegraphed like moment of rebirth. Like
yes, but jumping quickly back to the stylistic things, this movie opens with a close-up on Steve Jobs' face, and he is like giving this speech about how it's like, I don't want to think about this as a film. This is like a revolution.
Yeah.
And then it pans back, and he's talking to Ridley Scott about that 1984 Apple commercial, but like, yeah, right from the jump, this film is like, oh, we're going to give it to you with a little twist, which I really appreciated. Anyway.
And you have all those shots of like, that open the film of that keynote address where Steve Jobs is like working with Microsoft, where you have like, it's like looking up and you have Steve Jobs like in the corner of the shot, like very small. And then on the screen, you have this giant picture of Bill Gates, like video Bill Gates is just kind of like smiling a little bit sinisterly. And you're like, it's very clear that Steve Jobs has like had to capitulate to his enemy, the man. Yeah, Bill Gates looks very Big Brother. Like, there's a lot of...
I think Woz is even like, and there he was. Yeah, just like Big Brother.
That's the other thing, is that having these voiceovers of the sidekick dudes, like the sidekick dudes narrate all the action movie, the movie would be... The plot would be completely clear if we didn't have those voiceovers, but those voiceovers are there to underline in very bold marker what is being shown to us. Like, they tell and show. Like, I wrote down somewhere, like, you have a moment that's actually kind of like a nice cinematic moment, and then Steve Ballmer, like, cuts in, and he's being like, it's almost like we're stealing and they're stealing, and
yeah. And
you're just like, oh my gosh, okay, guys,
Right.
It feels like the voiceovers and the actual meat of the movie are two different movies that get like put together. Like one is like a kind of cheesy, like not I guess like it reads like an educational video almost. Those voiceovers that are like about that would be fine if you had those voiceovers and just like Ken Burns style pictures of like the people involved while they were talking. Especially with like Waz like stepping into the computer and showing you all the files.
Right. Look, and then I can move the mouse and you click over here.
Yeah, and like just like explaining in a very kind of cheesy way all the different like kinds of computers there were or whatever. And then you have the actual like acting between like Anthony Michael Hall and Noah Weil, which is, if by itself, would be probably like a pretty good movie that could have been like a prestige movie on HBO had they been doing those a lot back then or whatever.
Right.
I have a note that just says, OMG, Bill dream sequence, yes! But then I realized as I was writing it, it wasn't actually a dream sequence.
Is that his...
It's when the guy's like in the
trip?
door, like, when Bill Gates is like in his dorm room and his roommate brings back the computer, but he's like framed in like light, so he looks like he's glowing.
Oh my god, I totally also thought that was a dream sequence.
Yeah, it was just, I wonder if it really happened that way. We'll never know. Also, the Kirkland Paul Giamatti is the goofiest fucking dude and delivers every Waz line. Like, maybe that's really what that guy is like. I would believe it. But there's a line where he just wants to laugh. Like, he just wants to, like, do prank calls.
I just love pranks.
He's a line just like, I like jokes. Jokes make me feel good. And then he gets fucking amnesia and, like, because he was in a plane accident and later on he quits Apple and he's like, I don't like jokes anymore, Steve. I went into this watching this movie being like, I feel like maybe this is a bad movie to pick. Like, Johnny would be like, maybe there's not going to be a lot to talk about because it's the kind of corny TV movie. But there's a lot going on.
Yeah, no, this was such a rich text to dive into.
There's a lot to unpack. It's hard to talk about this like in a linear way. Like, also because no one who listens to this is going to watch this movie.
Right.
But everyone knows the story of Steve Jobs and Bill Gates. Like, and if you don't, guess what? Wikipedia has a very comprehensive summary of this movie that makes for an excellent companion piece.
I mean, we could just do it real quick. I mean, that is...
Also, if you have complaints, you can find me at LucyTownUSA on Twitter. I love getting flamed.
Plug that as many times as you want.
I'm going to. I'm a comedian. I need fans, okay? And hopefully my gregarious, charming presence on this podcast wins me a few new admirers.
What were we talking about? Oh, plot of this film.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's actually not that interesting.
It's really not. There's a lot of computer talk.
There's a lot of computer shit that happens. The most important thing is, like, Bill Gates is doing his computer shit, and his entire thing is, like, to do licensing, and it's very, like, through the legal contracts. That's how he makes all of his money. He gets somebody else's operating system. Is this correct?
Yeah.
Sells it to these other people, but licenses it, so like he's getting money,
yeah.
And then also licensing it to other people, yada yada yada. Like, you realize that Windows runs on a bunch of different machines. They don't make the shit. Other side is Steve Jobs, and he's like, all about the creation, and it's all happening together at the same time. That's Apple's philosophy. They then XER'OKS develops the way that we see computers now, which is like with an interface and a mouse and all of this shit. Instead
of just being like some nerd shit with punch cards, like XER'OKS figures out how to make a computer that like I could use, and I can't read.
Right, and then XER'OKS is like, fuck you, we don't want this. So Steve Jobs convinces them to let him see it. There's this awesome woman who we don't get to know anything else about, who's just like, what the fuck Steve Jobs, like, he cannot come here, he's just gonna steal our technology, which, spoiler alert, he does.
But then Noah Weil is so hot, she's kind of like, okay.
Is that fine?
Well, he clearly, so the scene in the, yes, I guess the thing is XER'OKS is not just for faxes anymore. XER'OKS is has a team working on this. Like, the bigwigs at XER'OKS are kind of letting the R&D team figure this out, and then when the R&D team at XER'OKS brings it to the bigwigs, their idea of like a computer that's got pictures on it. They're like, no, fuck this. The public will hate this. Like, no one wants computers around. They're for business. So Steve Jobs kind of swoops in, and it's kind of similar to like what he's been working on, but they don't have the technology for it. And he comes in this little fucking leather jacket.
That's a great scene of him walking up. It was like straight out of Baywatch. And
they literally, like, when they're walking up to Xerox, it's like a team of Apple programmers, and you have a voiceover from our old friend Waz being like, I felt like we were in a Mongolian horde, like about to go loot. Like we were just taking what we wanted, and they walk in.
Doesn't he throw off a line that's like rape and pillage? Yes, please.
No, that's Ballmer. That's Ballmer when Microsoft is doing it to Apple. Because then there's a parallel scene later in the movie where Microsoft swoops in on Apple, who has stolen technology from Xerox to steal technology from Apple. No, but in this first sequence, you walk in. There's all these Xerox programmers who are very smart, who've just kind of like their bosses didn't like what they made, which. And Steve Jobs is like, well, let us have it, you know? Like, why not? And this lady, the one female programmer in the room is like, what the fuck? No, like, that's ours. Like, we made it. And then Steve Jobs is like looking up at her, and he's like clean shaven, Noah Weil is ER hot. And he goes, he just basically seduces her into doing, he's like, it's not going to hurt. And then she looks down and she's like, more than you think. But then she just gives it all to them anyway.
Well, to me, that's like, I mean.
Yeah.
Maybe we are going to get into a little bit of an SJW corner. But just because, like, you give up and let your attacker have their way does not mean that you are consenting.
Very true. Okay, yes. That's very true. I loved her. I did not, this kind of ties into a thing that, like, I did have, like, some serious points to make about this movie. Where, like, this movie is a lot about great men and, like, the mythos around, like, great men. Mm-hmm. And does really touch on, like, the fact that they create narratives about what they've done, even though, to disguise the fact that, like, no man can do it alone. Especially with the Steve Jobs character, like, that line in the beginning where it's like, Woz is like, you know, I was just seeing kilobytes and computers, and Steve could see the universe and like karma of like, right. Like really at times trite instances of these like mad geniuses. But this movie does kind of have like an interesting take on like the ego and wait, I lost the thread of what I was saying. I'm like looking through my notes.
I think it is very interesting that this movie is so much about like the mythos of these two men. Mm-hmm. And, you know, like the entire thing is framed as like Hamlet or the two princes. But ultimately, Microsoft didn't create its operating system.
Yeah.
And the like big thing, the big revolutionary thing is that they were both just stealing from Xerox. Like their castles are built on sand. Like it's not a.
Yeah. I read an interesting article. There's actually an interesting article about this movie fairly recently. I think after Jobs came out, like people kind of remembered this movie got made. And they make a really good point about like the thematic content of this movie, and that it is like about like theft and like the egos of men and like justifying their actions to like change the world. And there's a lot of like kind of rough, not super well refined themes of like the man. Like there's a right. Like they talk about like businessmen, like big IBM, and like eventually capitulating to the man. Yeah, but I don't know. There's a lot of interesting things about power. That's what I want about like power in this movie, and like Steve Jobs using his power as like a charismatic artist who's like mercurial, to in a very like cold and methodical way achieve his goal of like using that like artistry thing at Xerox to, you know, be like, let me take your like invention and use it to create something that'll change the world, even though they're kind of like, no, right. we kind of don't want to do that. And then all that stuff about like once Apple starts to get big and he's like pitting his Macintosh team like against other people, and like I don't know, there's a lot of dick swinging in this movie, like that scene in the boardroom this movie could be read as like a study of like toxic male ego.
Yes, let's get into it.
Like, especially, we haven't even touched on all this stuff. Like, this movie does deal with the Lisa. It kind of deals with it a little bit and then throws it away. Of like, Steve Jobs had his college girlfriend. She was pregnant. He refused to acknowledge the baby was his.
It's not my baby.
Yeah, even though it's like, yeah, you're not even gonna consider it, dude? Like, okay. And
you got a paternity test.
Yeah, and then he's like, paternity tests are all lies anyway.
It's the man! Right.
Yeah.
But he does feel entitled to show up.
Yeah, to her, like, roll up out of her house.
Roll up and just be like, so what'd you name it?
Yeah.
I think you should name it Lisa. And she's like, okay, she's yours too. And he's like, no, she's not.
Yeah, he rolls through the beaded curtain. And that whole scene is, like, shot in really soft focus. Oh, that girl, we don't even really, like, I think her name's Arlene. But she is not really, the women in this movie, like, you know, aren't.
It's 1999.
It's 1999. We have Arlene, who exists to be yelled at by Noah Weil in his, like, scene-chewing monologues. And then you have the woman we can only call XER'OKS Lady, even though she deserves a name. Justice for XER'OKS Lady.
Justice for XER'OKS Lady. Hashtag it, put it on a shirt.
She seemed like a Kim.
Let's call her Kim.
You know, Kim from XER'OKS put up the good fight. But even from the beginning of the movie, like, especially when you're seeing Steve Jobs as, like, a shithead college student, there's all this stuff about, like, he was always, like, going off and doing acid and, like, opening his mind. Oh, yeah, the line is, we're here to make a dent in the universe. That's from the Ridley Scott scene. It's all just, like, stuff like that where it's a man so clearly in love with the idea of his own genius that he kind of, like, as toxic male egos tend to do, plow down everyone else in his way, even though, like, you know, Woz was the one who was ostensibly, like, the computer guy.
Right.
Who was, like, working hard. I mean, brain injuries do change people.
They have that effect. But Woz is listed as the sole inventor on, I want to say, like, 4 or 5 of the, like, really big first Apple patents. Yeah, and, like, the entire mythos around Steve Jobs is so controlled by him, and I feel like if the iPhone hadn't been such a success, like, I don't think people would look back on him as a good man. Like, I feel like people only like him because they like their iPhone.
Hey, I love my little telephone. I'll be the first to say it. I look at it all day.
Oh, all day.
All fucking day. I just click around on it. It's always hot and sticky from my little hands. I love my little iTelephone, but hey, I'm going to go on the record. I don't know that I love Steve Jobs. Is that controversial? Maybe. Is it my opinion? Yes.
And that's what Pulp is here for.
Did I know the man? No. Do I love Pulp? Yes. Oh, I have actually one more thing I want to talk about.
Yeah.
Going back to Anthony Michael Hall's performance, he really does turn it out in a couple scenes in this movie. One of which is when he has to get on a plane.
Oh, yes. Take us through the scene. An
amazing sequence, which almost seems like it's from a different movie. Kind of Anthony Michael Hall. Bill Gates is a subdued man, so he plays him pretty quiet, plays his cards close to the vest in terms of characterization. You know, there's a couple sequences where you realize, like, there's a darker side to Bill. Like, he likes to drive really fast and, like, sing in the car. And you're like, okay, sure. And then he starts to kind of become more Scorpio, like pragmatic and kind of evil throughout the second half of the movie. And there's a scene where, to the best of my recollection, he has to get on a plane so he can go to Apple, pretend to be Steve Jobs' friend, and then steal his ideas. And he has to get on this plane. I don't understand why it's this plane, really. I don't remember. But he runs up to the gate. He's carrying his, like, big briefcase full of computer shit. And the flight attendant's like, I'm sorry. The plane's already on the tarmac. And Bill Gates goes the fuck off on him because he knows that computers aren't really big. And he basically is like, I don't know if you've ever heard of a computer, but there's viruses. Do you know what a virus is? And the guy's like, yeah, I've been sick. And then Bill Gates is like, no, a computer virus. And the other flight attendant's like, I saw a report on TV about computer viruses. And Bill Gates is like, well, computers control your plane. See that terminal there? So unless you want that plane to go down, I have to get on that plane with these codes. And he's fucking like lying. He's just like exerting his knowledge over like a poor simpleton. And he gets on the plane, and then he goes and you know, I don't remember why that was such an important sequence. I think it was just kind of a fun thing. They had to give him like a monologue.
Paul Allen and Steve Ballmer had like made a bet.
Oh yeah.
And like he's not gonna make the flight. And so I don't know why it was so important that he got that flight. Like it's never explained why it needed to be that flight. Other than the $50 bet from the other two guys.
They're millionaires at this point. They have so much money.
Right.
Amazing.
But yeah, he gets them to turn the plane around. Yeah. We do need to talk about the final comeuppance, or like the final showdown.
Oh my god, yeah, that is actually like probably because it has no voiceovers from Ballmer or Woz. Like
right.
One of the
These
most
two actors are actually allowed to like interact with one another.
Like, well, because Ballmer's in the scene, but he's mercifully quiet.
Right.
I say mercifully just for the sake of the scene, not because I don't want to hear that man talk, which I obviously do. Yeah, it's like that scene is just like allowed to play out, and it's delicious.
Right.
It is.
So ultimately what has happened is Apple successfully stole Xerox's technology. Mm-hmm. Bill Gates convinced Apple to do some like weird licensing shit, because that's where Bill Gates is at. It's with the licensing.
Because he knows it's so boring that no one will really pay attention to him when he talks about it.
So he wrote something into the license, and so he was able to basically steal this Apple technology, and he gets it to ship first. So like the Microsoft version is out in the marketplace before the Apple version. And this is like coming to light at the big Mac World, where like Steve Jobs is about to announce all of this stuff, and they have this epic fight.
Oh my god. So, well, there's a moment, so Steve Jobs is on stage and Bill Gates is wearing an Apple t-shirt over his nerdy ass little button up. It's tucked into his high-waisted pants.
Right. Somebody like throws the shirt on top of him, because at this point Steve Jobs is fully like, Apple is a cult.
Yeah, and like Steve Ballmer obviously has to lay that out for us, and he's like, when did technology become a religion? And so Steve Ballmer and Bill Gates are standing like slightly off stage when like an Apple tech comes up to them holding a computer, and it's revealed to the audience that the Windows computers have just shipped in Japan ahead of like the announcement that they are making at this very keynote address. And he's like, basically, you betrayed Steve. And Bill Gates is very like, comes like, it's business. And then the light goes onto them as Steve Jobs is like, and our friends at Microsoft are working with us. And because Steve Jobs has no goddamn idea. And then...
Right. He's in the middle of a speech. Somebody like tried to make a motion to him to get him to explain it, and Steve Jobs is like, doesn't get it.
So then we get to the aftermath of this keynote, where like backstage, Bill Gates is still wearing his Apple t-shirt, and Steve Jobs has been informed of what happened, that he's looking at one of the Windows computers and realizing how fully he has been ripped off, which is pretty delicious considering he ripped off Xerox's technology.
Right. They are the pirates of Silicon Valley, just in case.
They do literally say, I think in a different sequence, those would be like, we're pirates, not coders.
No,
or
it's
whatever.
the Ballmer thing.
Yeah.
Ballmer is like, yeah, we're pirates, raping and pillaging, yes please, which again...
It was, I hate to make excuses, for a time period, but it was 1999. You know, we weren't as woke as we are now. And then there's just we finally get like a really long interaction between these two actors. We haven't really gotten the whole movie, like an uninterrupted interaction. Mm-hmm. And it's, Bill Gates is no longer the nerd we met at the beginning of the movie. He is a assured, cold, Scorpio businessman who slowly, as Steve Jobs is like realizing what happened, takes off the Apple t-shirt and like throws it onto a chair and just stands there and like takes all this abuse that Steve Jobs is hurling at him, and then has this like speech about how, because Steve Jobs was like, I trusted you, we were like family.
It was in the contract.
Yeah.
And then he's like, read it better.
And then he basically calls out Steve Jobs on the fact that, like, they were both stealing, and Steve Jobs is just mad because Bill Gates stole it better.
Right.
Yeah.
And Steve is like, oh, but our version is better. Like, we have the better product. And Bill Gates is like, people don't give a shit.
Yeah, correctly. I mean...
And at the time, he was correct. It took...
Yeah.
How long to catch up?
I don't know.
I mean, I guess the iPod is, I guess, when...
Yeah, it took portable computing to be able to, like, really...
Turn the tide back to Apple.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really good sequence. It's probably on YouTube if y'all want to watch it.
The whole movie's on YouTube if y'all want to watch it.
Yeah,
it's an hour and a half. It's a very pleasant hour and a half.
It is. It's a fun time with some thoughtful moments. I would say that if this movie had come out in a time when fandoms were big or whatever, like if this movie had come out like when the internet is where we are now, there would be so much fucking fan fiction about Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. Like, there's a scene where, like, they go to meet up because Steve Jobs is mad at Bill Gates, and Bill Gates, like, very calmly is like, I'm not stealing for you, and, like, kind of tricks him, and, like, they're, like, alone in Steve Jobs' house, and, like, Steve Jobs calms down, and they're, like, sitting on a couch together. And I saw that, and I was like, some girl out there would write such a long Tumblr post about them kissing with some, like, artfully recolored GIFs at the top. Yeah, people would have loved this movie. This movie had a lot of parallels, IMO, to the famous movie, The Social Network, which is, you know, Zuckerberg and Gates are compared a lot. Yeah.
Fanfic. Oh, I couldn't find any fanfic.
That's okay. I feel like it's too late. The Social Network fandom always really fascinated me because it is so niche, and like it makes me, it boggles my mind how, like, if there's a full fandom for that specific movie, like the sheer number of fandoms that are out there defies explanation or accountability. I read maybe like a full novella length fan fiction about Jesse Eisenberg and Andrew Garfield falling in love on the set of The Social Network. Really stunningly well written.
I would read that.
I will say, I don't know if I could ever find it again, objectively strange choice of premise, but like really well realized characters, you know, believable romantic arc, did some really interesting stuff with the interplay between the characters they play and the actors themselves, you know, and I would love to live in a world where there was that kind of fan fiction about this movie.
Yes.
Maybe I'll be the one to write it. I don't know.
It's never too late.
I've been in my comedy writing a lot of fan fiction.
To read on stage?
Yeah, like Today Show fan fiction is one that I'm working on right now. I did, for a show, I did some Brett Favre erotic fan fiction. It was pretty, but it was just dark because, you know, Brett Favre has had so many head injuries, like, he's so happily married and Christian that, like, they definitely just, like, he, like, undoes her Playtex bra and she's just like, you're not the man I fell in love with, like, your brain is pudding. I digress. I love fan fiction, and I wish I had written it in high school, but I didn't. Where are they now? You know?
Where are they now? So we don't normally do this. I kind of put this in there because I think it's kind of funny where some of them ended up. We don't actually have to talk about it.
I would like to say that I haven't looked at this section of the outline that you did. Here's, without reading it, where I know that people are now.
Before we get into that, I want to talk about the similarities between the event and the film.
Oh, yeah. Okay, let's do that.
Which, like we said, we're not going to give you a full rundown of the events of the film because it's like a lot of nerds talking about computers. But in the creation of the film, like we said, Burke considered it a version of Hamlet, and so he didn't actually talk to anyone who was involved in the film. That said, he did 7 months of research with a team of Harvard researchers. He was like very into the fact that they were from Harvard, and says that he has at least 2 sources to back up even some of the most ludicrous scenes in the movie, including Bill Gates's late night tractor racing and Steve Jobs like putting his bare feet up on the table and being like, "Are you a virgin?"
To a potential employee.
Right.
Because he's a fucking mercurial genius who doesn't play by the traditional rules of corporations.
We did an episode about confirmation a long time ago, talks about sexual harassment in the workplace. Steve Jobs had not seen that film, was not aware of Anita Hill, was fully putting this guy on blast. Like, I guess it's a TV movie, so he couldn't say, like, who was last time you fucked?
Yeah. But like, the subtext was like, at this hip new startup, we only want employees who know how to fuck. Like, we want you to be like a bad boy engineer. Like, I don't care if you know your shit. Like, I want you to be a dick swinger. And it's just like, oh, God.
Yeah, he, like, is drilling this guy, like, when did you last have sex? And he's like, oh, well, my wife and I have been married. And he's like, no. When did you first? Like,
God.
It's disgusting.
Apparently really happened.
Yes. He apparently has at least 2 sources to say that happened. Woz loved this film.
Obviously.
He has gone on and on about, like, what a good film this is. He loved it. He described it as, quote, intriguing, interesting. I loved watching it. Every one of those incidences occurred, and it occurred with the meaning that was shown. He also said that there was some liberties taken with the timeline and which characters were present for what.
Yeah, well, because they had to insert Balmer into fucking every single scene.
Right, so that he could then explain it. And I guess, like, when the computer catches fire, it was, like, a different kid in his class. But it's all, like, very inconsequential and, like, the way that you would expect when you're making a movie. You have to, like, condense characters and kind of...
Yeah, big picture stuff apparently was accurate.
But, yeah, Wozniak gives it a big thumbs up. Bill Gates referred to his depiction as, quote, reasonably accurate, which, considering that Bill Gates comes off a lot better than Steve Jobs in this movie, is, like, chill. And Steve Jobs fucking hated this movie, hated everything about it, but he did invite Noah Weil to come to the 1999, like, big press conference that they do.
Yeah, because Noah Weil is hot, and he knew that. Like, you don't have to like what he did, but, like, even Steve Jobs is like, yeah, that's a good-looking man. I should have him standing next to me on stage. People will associate, like, I look a little wrecked at this point, you know.
Well, I guess, people in the audience could not tell them apart.
They look stunningly similar. Like, Noah Weil, there was not a lot of evidence that he was going to be a good actor, because, again, his big credit was ER. But the resemblance was so uncanny that, like, that's definitely why they pursued him so hard.
He was considered for Michael Fassbender's role.
Again?
Yeah, they were like, what if we bring him back? What if we bring him back from the vaults?
Noah Weil has just been sitting in a white room since...
in a turtleneck.
Since Pirates of Silicon Valley came out, just waiting for his moment. And then he got the call. And then his agent was like, yeah, they went with Fassbender.
Sorry, bro. But yeah, they, like, played a trick on the audience where Noah Weil started giving the speech, and then Steve Jobs came out on stage and was like, what are you doing? Like, finger wag.
That's pretty cute. I like that.
It's so cute. And Noah Weil was like, I was so afraid that he was gonna, like, put me on blast or, like, do something to embarrass me. But he, like, stayed on script. We, like, did this little skit where he was like, it's me, Steve Jobs, like, wink, wink.
I wish that he had slimed Noah Weil. That would have been great. You know, Steve's revenge.
Yeah, but so, like, as far as relationship to reality, this seems to get a thumbs up from the people involved.
Yeah, I mean, and it kind of, you know, falls in line with, like, what we as a culture know about Steve Jobs. Like, it reinforces a lot of the, which I'm sure are things that he, even if it was not a favorable depiction, I feel like Steve Jobs, the man, like, enjoyed having that status of, like, explosive artistic genius. You know, even if he, like, didn't like the fact that they, like, showed a lot of shit about how he was a bad man to his baby mama or whatever. Like, you know, a hot actor reinforcing the public notion of you as a
temperamental artist who takes drugs and
It's like open to the universe. Oh my gosh, I cannot. There's so many times in this movie where, like, I think that's why I liked Bill Gates, that, like, Anthony Michael Hall's Bill Gates better in this movie, because, like, watching Steve Jobs' storyline there, sometimes I was like, oh, Jesus, really? Okay, sure. Like, when he's yelling at his coders at night where he's like, I need artists!
Oh, right.
When
it's like 3 a.m. and he's like, I can't defend an unfinished idea. And he's like, perfection!
And just like, I just feel like dudes like that are all just like totally yerking it in the back, just being like, yeah, like I am, no one understands me and like my creative process, and like I'm gonna change the world, I'm gonna stand up to the big suits at IBM. So it does feel like just desserts at the end of the movie when Bill Gates is like looming over him, being like, I won with nerd shit, like contracts.
It's also so interesting, just as a side note, that like Apple started with this 1984 commercial, and like a lot of the discourse now is like, oh, we're in a Brave New World. Yeah. Where like instead of Big Brother, although we do also have fucking Big Brother, thank you Edward Snowden for blowing that whistle. But so in like trying to bring down the man, Steve Jobs really has become that which he hated. And
that's in my notes, Even
well, give me some more Soma.
Woz helpfully lays out at several points in the movie, like every time he like shaves or like kind of cleans up a little bit, puts on a suit.
Oh, which happens in stages.
Yeah, it does. At first it's a mustache and then he shaves it all off, gets a haircut. Woz always like, we were supposed to be revolutionaries, man, and now, we hated the man and now we're gonna sell our shit to them. And you're like, we understood that. There was, we can read, as viewers, we can read between the lines to understand that that's, a change, but I appreciate the voiceover.
I mean, people spend so much time talking about how dumb millennials are. You know what? If millennials were watching this movie in 1999, we wouldn't have needed that fucking voiceover.
Yeah, I was 4 when this movie came out.
Sorry, Gen Xers, that you're idiots.
Do you watch Survivor at all?
I was about to bring that up.
I love this Millennials versus Gen X.
Oh my god, it's so fucking good. The upper bound on Gen X seems a little high.
Oh yeah,
I think they got a couple boomers in there.
Yeah, I mean they're on like season 1 million, so
none of the people in this movie are on Survivor.
I would watch a season of Survivor in which they were. I would love to, but in character.
I would also watch a battle royale type. You knew what I was gonna say.
Yeah, no, of course.
Yeah, Steve is underground.
Oh yeah, he's well, so we're told. The popular theory is that Steve Jobs died in 2011 from complications due to a relapse of pancreatic cancer. But, maybe not? Is that crazy? If Elvis could be alive, Steve Jobs could be alive. I'm just going to say it.
Oh, for sure. How do we know that Steve Jobs is not Siri?
How do we know that Steve Jobs wasn't Elvis? These are the questions you're going to have to ask yourselves, How do we know that Steve Jobs didn't kill Noah Weil and go into hiding? Because, when was the last time you saw him?
Noah Weil. Oh my god.
Wikipedia says he's still working in film projects, but...
It's that Game of Thrones shit where somebody dies and they throw their soul into an animal. He did that to Noah Weil.
Well, I've actually been watching Westworld, and I'm like, Apple's probably got some weird shit going on behind closed doors. They're so rich in terms of R&D. Maybe they've created a lifelike Noah Weil host type Android. Right. Downloaded Steve Jobs' consciousness into him.
And you can pay to fuck it.
Yeah, and you can pay to fuck it, and then they'll put him in a big room where they hose him down. And Thandie Newton is standing there with her guts spilling into her hands.
When we talked about W, we talked about how great she is. She's also really great on Westworld. Ashley and I were going to do that, but it came up naturally here. So,
you know who's a
shout
W?
out to Thandie Newton. Who?
Michael J. Madden. Yeah, I looked it up.
Holy shit.
Because I saw that you guys did an episode about that. And I did not listen to it, but...
That's fine. It was a nebulous episode.
This is a nebulous episode.
It's good nebulous. We kind of just got off on weird tangents.
Yeah.
These are funny tangents, at least.
Definitely.
But yes, Steve unless he is sitting in a warehouse waiting for his robot debut, is dead.
Yeah.
In typical Steve Jobs fashion, his final words were, "Oh wow, oh wow, oh wow."
Oh, gross. He came as he died?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think he saw the universe is what happened.
Sure.
But I think people, like, I don't even really necessarily believe that those were his final words. I think
no, that
people
sounds way too perfect.
Right. Or he, like, knew that he was dying, and so he said that, and then was like, that's it, I'm not saying anything else.
He totally would. That's totally what happened. He felt it coming, and he was like, I'll give him something good.
I'll give him something good. Because, right, he was alive for, I guess, another 3 hours. And so, you know, he, like, said his oh wow shit and then just laid there in the bed and was just, like, really prematurely shot the wad on that one. But
someone farted and he wanted to be like, who was it? But he couldn't.
He was like, that can't be my last word.
Like, everyone was like, who? Like, no one wanted to say anything because he was dying and he knew who it was, but he couldn't say who farted because he couldn't let his last words be like, Lisa cut one.
This movie, when it's doing its version of, like, where are they now? They're like, oh, he, like, basically adopted Lisa.
Oh my god,
later.
Yeah.
And they're like,
no, like, Lisa became a part of Steve Jobs' new family, and you're like, okay, dude, Lisa looks like an adult woman, so you've definitely spent a lot of, like, she's got some trauma you need to deal with in therapy.
She's got some trauma, and her mom still, like, you never gave her that fucking $20,000, which is not a lot of money. You dick.
You little dick. Here's what I know about where Woz is right now. I'm not looking at where he wrote what he is doing now, because the only thing I know about what he does now is that he dated Kathy Griffin for a while.
Oh my god.
And he made a lot of appearances on her TV show Life on the D-List. And then they broke up or something, but it's amicable.
Oh,
that's another. No, I think I made that up. I think that's another thing I just said. Like, I knew it for sure it was true, but it just felt true. I just can't see Kathy Griffin staying mad.
No. Have you heard her Cher story?
No.
Okay. Her Cher story is amazing. What I have written down for Woz is that he's a member of the Segway Polo team, Silicon Valley Aftershocks, and the, quote, innovator in residence at High Point University. So I feel like it goes really well with he dated Kathy Griffin for a little while.
I love him.
Yeah, Mike, we didn't really talk about. He was the one who was the knockoff Baldwin. He just got to retire. He's been fine. He retired at 32.
He's sitting pretty.
Yeah. John Scully, the, like, tight-ass guy, he became a founding investor of Metro PCS.
Ooh, maker of burner phones everywhere.
Right. A lot of drug dealers are very happy for John Scully. And also something called the Wine Clip. He's, like, invested in a bunch of shit, but I really was into the Wine Clip because apparently it uses magnets to treat your wine, and it's supposed to be really great. I ordered one while I was researching this film last night.
To treat your wine?
Yeah, so it just clips onto the neck of the wine bottle, and then as you're pouring it out, the wine, like, passes through a magnetic field, and it, like, aerates it, because apparently oxygen, like, gets...
Yeah.
Anyway, it's supposed to make it... It's for reds, and it's just supposed to, like, really enhance the flavor of your red wine.
But that sounds like something that would get fucking destroyed on Shark Tank. Yeah, we all know where Bill Gates is.
Yeah.
The fucking nerd who does a lot of philanthropical works.
Oh, I was writing a second sentence, but it fell off. Since leaving Microsoft, who knows? He's still writing the next chapter of his life.
Yeah, I don't really know what he's up to. You know, he seems like a nice man. I don't know. I really...
I mean, he's a...
His thing is he's a bit of a milquetoast, and that's how that's what makes him a snake.
Right.
Is you underestimate him. You say, okay, this nerd drew up a contract. It's probably pretty thorough stuff. I don't really have to, like, make
what
sure
did
he
say
makes
his rising sign was?
Cancer.
Oh, see, yeah, he comes off all warm and homey, and then...
Snake! Snaked him.
Yeah, the fucking scorpion tail coming in and stinging me in the ass.
Yeah.
But Melinda loves him, so... Paul Allen now owns a bunch of sports teams, including the Seattle Seahawks.
I don't remember who the fuck that guy is from the movie. I will say that much. I remember 4 characters from that movie. 5. I remember Woz. I remember, obviously, Balmer.
And nobody's properly introduced, is the other thing.
Yeah, they just assume we know.
All of these characters are fucking thrown in. It took me a good 20 to 30 minutes into the movie to realize, like, oh, we're following parallel stories. At this point, like, these characters aren't interacting.
Yeah. No, for the fact that, like, so much of this movie is, thematically is explicitly laid out for us, they really leave it up to the viewer to unentangle the relationships happening. Like, okay, each side is 3 white guys who are hanging out, but, like, we're not gonna find out who they are, like, because there's a 3rd guy tagging along with Balmer and Gates all the time, that maybe is Alan?
That's Paul Allen.
Oh, yeah, see, I had he was just a set piece to me. I was like, oh, yeah, okay, you're here.
Right.
What are you really getting them?
Yeah, he owns the Seahawks, he owns the Sounders, he owns the Portland Trailblazers, and he also owns a video production company that produced Far From Heaven, the new queer cinema classic, and also Hard Candy, in which Ellen Page gives a man a vasectomy.
I do.
Not a vasectomy, a...
Castration.
Yeah, she castrates him.
She castrates him, yeah. Wait, I didn't know. That's how I know Steve... I'm going to change the subject. I'm just looking at this. Steve Ballmer totally beefed Microsoft. That's how I know. I love him. He stepped down as CEO of Microsoft in 2013 after losing the company billions of dollars. He now owns the LA Clippers.
Yeah, he was responsible for the Surface One, which was like the blatant iPad ripoff.
Yeah.
That was like real bad. And now with the Surface, like the day after he stepped down, Microsoft stock like went up because people were like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, everyone was like,
this fucking strip club frat boy is out of the driver's seat.
Yeah, one could say he stepped out of the picture frame.
Oh my God.
I'm going to go ahead and say best moment of that movie for me.
It truly was the best moment of the movie. I'm going to have to go back and take a screenshot.
I did take a screenshot.
I love
it. There's just one chair. His chair came with him out of the picture frame.
Oh my
But like they're in like a museum. It's like...
no.
I love it. Yeah.
It's a truly postmodern masterpiece, this film.
That's exactly what it is. You know, it deconstructs our ideas of these great men.
Yeah, so let's move on to pulp ratings.
Okay, yeah.
I think you might be the first guest who has listened to the show and so can properly do pulp ratings without me explaining them to you.
Let's do some pulp ratings.
So, pulp ratings, aesthetics, I think...
I would call this... For me, aesthetics of this movie, high pulp. Like, you know, at a juice place, how they have to, at the end of the night, like, clean out the trap, and it's probably just, like, a really thick cake of, like residues and, like, fruit carcasses. I would call it that level of pulp for me. Would be the disgusting cake of orange pulp at a bodega juice press.
Okay. Got that New York bodega flavor.
I'm sorry, this is an interview. I don't know if you guys remember, but this is a very special New York episode.
I like that. I was gonna say it was like orange marmalade because it's like not quite pulpy in a good way. Like it's still made for TV, but it's still like chunky. It's very sweet. Like I enjoy eating it. Like I would take a spoonful of this movie and put it directly in my mouth. I would also take a spoonful of this movie and use it as like sexual foreplay.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, this is the ultimate foreplay is to be like, hey baby, things have been really hot and heavy, but I just want to take a second to watch this 1999 TNT original film, Pirates of Silicon Valley, which dramatizes the rivalry and friendship of Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, 2 tech titans with a lot to prove. I don't know why I said they had a lot to prove. They have nothing to prove. They're both... One's dead and one's a billionaire. I agree. Definitely a good movie to settle down with like a boo.
Yeah.
With your boo.
With a boo, with a bae, with a...
It's cuffing season, bitch. And if he won't watch Pirates of Silicon Valley with you, you need you a new Winter Mans.
You is Ashton Kutcher. The man she tells you not to worry about is Noah Weil in this film.
Wait, I have another. These are audio memes, but how to text a boy. No is hey. Yes is. Pirates of Silicon Valley is a 1999 film in which we explore toxic ego masculinity through the lens of Anthony Michael Hall's performance as Bill Gates and I'm forgetting his name already. Noah Wile's performance as the explosive genius Steve Jobs. And then, it'd be funnier if maybe I'll make this meme and you can use that as the cover art.
Oh, or we could just retweet it. Be like, follow
the girl
at LucyTown USA.
On Instagram, it's actually deceptive. I'm LucyTown.USA because I liked that construction better.
Oh.
But you can't use a dot in a handle on Twitter.
No.
But I digress. Okay.
Next, let's say ethics.
Ethics.
I'm going to say that this is, I was in Vegas with my dad recently, and I feel like oxygen bars were really hot in Vegas. There were like a fucking bajillion oxygen bars. That's the ethical content that I felt like this movie had. Actually, that's maybe cutting it short because we do like deconstruct these egos and we're like, let's question our heroes.
Yeah.
They were both pirates. So I take it back. It was an oxygen machine, but then somebody put some pulp in there and you inhaled it on accident.
I would say for me, it would be like a citrus grove that was destroyed in a fire, but at the center of the grove, there's like one little sprout,
Okay.
There's like one sapling survived, and it's not really anything right now, but if you like looked hard enough at it
And put some water
and
on
nurtured
it.
and kind of like used your resources to try to make it into something, it could grow into a tree that produced like a kind of watery, off-tasting orange.
You painted a real word picture, and I feel like I bit into that orange when I watched this movie.
It's not a juicy, satisfying orange. It's a very like anemic.
Right. Like we had to put some work into reading ethics into this film. This
a
film
lot of
ends
work
and
for
is
not
like,
a lot of reward.
right. The film wants us, for all the work it does in being like, Steve Jobs was a dick. At the end it is like,
yeah.
Oh, but he was like nice and like,
yeah.
He finally got Lucy like on board with his family.
Lisa.
What did I say?
Lucy.
Oh, that's you.
That's me. It is time for the big reveal. I've gone on the record saying I am a human woman. I am also Lisa Jobs. Downloaded into a very realistic host, Westworld style.
This is probably the most boring pulp rating, but yeah, the accuracy of this film.
I guess I would call it like when you buy, when you are at a deli or whatever, you're really hungover and you have to choose from like, you decide, in your head you're like, I want orange juice.
Mm-hmm.
And you go to like the Tropicana section, the little cartons, and it has on the cover of the carton like a straw stuck into an orange, and it looks so good. And then you open up the carton and you get pulp. Obviously, you don't get no pulp. And it's thick with pulp, like really thick with pulp, but it doesn't taste like a real orange. You know what I mean? So like, I'm really kind of playing fast and loose with this one. I was saying maybe episode one, but like it in terms of like amount of pulp being like high rating, definitely we've gotten confirmation from multiple very accurate movie.
Right.
I think that made it less obscenely juicy. Like we could have had, and so they relied on stunts such as our friend Steve Ballmer stepping out of the picture.
Right.
So the movie was situated in a place of accuracy, but also used a lot of like weird devices that made it seem very like staged and theatrical.
Yeah, I was gonna call it a bottle of Orangina.
Ooh.
Where like, you know, you get you shake it, you get the pulp in there, but it's also like light, it's effervescent, like
that's a much better one than mine.
Clearly comes from an orange. We have people like on record saying it's right, but again, they are playing fast and loose with the characters and the timelines. The characterizations are obviously like exaggerated. Yeah. So
I take mine back. I agree with you.
Well, no, I like the high pulp, but like doesn't. High pulp, but maybe artificial pulp or something.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, very artificial tasting. Where you're like, this was stored in a tank for a long time.
Yeah, I think we're coming at it from different directions, but I think ultimately.
Yeah, I think my problem with my rating was that it kind of implied that I didn't immensely enjoy it, which I did.
We both love this film. I'm gonna buy it on Blu-ray, in fact.
Overall, I would call this movie for me a fucking winner. You know? A fucking winner. A big juicy ruby red grapefruit. One of my favorite kinds of citrus. Or actually, I like a white grapefruit a lot. I'm a grapefruit girl. In terms of pulp, I love a grapefruit. Can I give an additional rating on Anthony Michael Hall's performance?
Yes, exclusive pulp rating. Anthony Michael Hall's performance.
I would rate it as something I used to do when I was a kid, which is that I would take, when my mom was baking and she used any kind of citrus, I would take the peel and I would cut it up and I would put it on a piece of tin foil and I would cover it in sugar. I would dip it in egg white and sugar and then I would put it in the toaster oven on broil for a long time. This is a recipe I made up. You're free to use it at home. And I called it candied orange peel, but it was actually not very good. It was like very sticky and kind of weird. But when I think about that, it makes me just immensely like happy. Yeah. And that was how I felt, especially watching Michael. I keep wanting to call him Michael C. Hall, Anthony Michael Hall, in the bulldozer race. In the movie. Oh, it was just like, you sweet dum-dum. That's not candied orange peels, you know, and your season of SNL was not a good one, and that's not your fault. You were trying to play against type, and, you know, Lorne Michaels wasn't helming it at the time. That's not your fault either. You really tried your best, and you did some pretty good Weekend Update bits.
Oh, I have seen him do Weekend Update bits.
Right?
Okay.
He was already a movie star when he got on SNL, and that was his downfall, but he was like a pretty solid utility player on that season.
Okay. Time for plugs. Throw it in there one more time.
Okay, so if you're listening this far, you've been waiting in anticipation to hear my Twitter handle. I've been teasing it since the beginning of the podcast, but here goes nothing. I'm at LucyTown USA on Twitter. LucyTownUSA. Slide into my DMs. Throw some faves on it. Retweet my pinned tweet, because, you know, I'm doing pretty well with that one. On Instagram, at LucyTown.USA. Don't get it twisted. Yeah, and, you know, just like, friend me on Facebook. I do comedy shows in the New York City area a medium amount of times a week. I don't know, like once a week, generally. I'll promote them pretty heavily on all my social media, so it's not hard to figure out when or where they are. I don't really have anything coming up.
All right.
What are you gonna do? You plug something every week, or you?
We just normally plug our like handles.
Oh, okay.
That's usually it. Yeah, it has been really great getting to sit and talk to you.
Oh my god, a genuine pleasure to finally have an IRL chat.
Convo.
I love it. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
This is a pleasure to revisit this childhood delight.
Yeah. I'm not even going to plug my internet presence because, listeners, if you aren't following me at this point, fuck off. And,
yeah, that's catty. That's catty to listen to a podcast to the end, but like to be like a listener of a podcast and like not follow the host.
Yeah. When I first started the podcast, I thought I would tweet more about movies on my personal account, but I didn't. So honestly, you could probably just follow the podcast account, which is at PulpPod, or follow us on Facebook at Pulp Podcast.
Share and subscribe, bitch.
Share and subscribe and rate. This, I think, is going to be the last. This will be the first episode of Scorpio season. So cheers to Bill Gates. Bye,
cheers,
everyone.
Bill. Bye.